Hello, everybody. I'm gonna make this short video real quick. Well, at least I'm gonna try to make it short. But yeah, this is Faceless Preacher once again, coming represent Jesus Christ and the cross, the Lord. Um, Now I just wanted to just talk about one thing real quick. And it's been came into my spirit to talk about at my job. I'm not gonna say where I work, but it's happening everywhere, and they're starting to do it earlier and earlier. They're starting to put out Halloween decorations, and people are coming in the store and buying Halloween stuff. Now, this is the thing: no Christian should be celebrating Halloween. Now, I don't know how you grew up. You might have grown up a certain way and went trick or treating or something like that. And you think, oh, it's just harmless fun. It's just harmless fun. Well, let me tell you something about this. Next time you think it's just fun and you want to subject your children to this, think about it this way. Now, there are such things, witches, there are certain things of people who worship Satan, and let me ask you this question. What do you think their favorite holiday is? I'm waiting. What do you think people who worship Satan, devil worshippers, people who believe in it, who really lift up the enemy in that way, what do you think their favorite holiday is? I'll give you a hint. It's not Christmas. It's not Resurrection Day. It's not Thanksgiving. It's a holiday coming up. That's their favorite holiday. So we as Christians, we can't just do something because we feel like it's fun. We're subjecting our children. I'll give you an example. I was at the store, and first of all, I have two kids, so I'm not just talking out the side of my ear. I understand. You got to understand, kids are pure, and the thing about kids are they're very impressionistic. So it depends on how you raise a child, and God looks at what we subject our children to and what we expose them to. Just like things like racism, things like hate and prejudices and things like that. Children don't normally have that. If you have children, you notice you bring them to a park, they play with everybody. They don't care about what their people's skins are or anything like that, or what people look like. We impress that on them. So if any child has any type of racial tendencies, they've gotten it from their parents or somebody else of older. Somebody impressed that on them. So I'll give you an example. I'm at the store, and I noticed there's this woman, and she's in the section where all the Halloween decorations are. And she's with her kid. And see, this is the thing about kids. They're very, like I said, they're very pure, they're very innocent. So the kid's seeing all this Halloween stuff, and you can tell the kid doesn't want to be around the Halloween stuff. And she's like, oh, you're not scared, just go ahead. And the kid's like, no, mom. So that's the thing, kids know that something's not right. They know these things aren't right. They know that celebrating skeletons and death, that embraces death. A lot of people don't understand that people have skeletons and things like that and have yards with gravestones and stuff like that. That's lifting up death. That's all it is. And in fact, there's an actual holiday, and it's celebrated in a lot of Latin places around the globe, and it's called Dia de los Muertos, and it's the Day of the Dead. And they celebrate this as in they're trying to lift up ancestors that have passed away. And that's the thing, like, we got to understand that as Christians, we can't go by just tradition. A lot of people want to go by their traditions. A lot of people want to lift up their traditions and think like, oh, we've been doing this forever, so we could just keep doing it. I went trick-or-treating when I was young, as a kid. But as I got older, I understood that I learned by experience that this is not what I should be doing when I became an adult. I understand that I shouldn't be, even when I was in college, like I would go to Halloween parties and stuff like that. But eventually I knew better. I learned better that all it is doing is lifting up the enemy. That's all it is. And what does the enemy want? He wants attention. He wants you to be watching the horror movies. He wants you to be injecting that into your system, into your spirit. And it's not of God. Jesus doesn't want us sitting here lifting up traditions of the enemy. I mean, think about what Halloween is actually about. I mean, this kid was sitting here looking at all this scary stuff, and the parents trying to get them basically to make it normal for them. And the kid's like, no, mom. Like, the kid's yelling and screaming. And see, I just walked by and just like, I could tell the kid was bothered. And, I don't get in people's business because, we all have free will. But I just said something. Just think that maybe this mom would get a clue. And I'm like, kids are very pure, they, and I'm just talking to her. And I said, kids are very pure. They know when they don't like something. She's just laughing like, yeah, that's how she laughed. Yeah, you're right. He doesn't like it. And she, it didn't click. It didn't click in her mind what she was subjecting her kid to. The kid obviously didn't want to be a part of that, and it was bothering it. So why do we impress this on our children? Why do we feel like we have to do this for them to have a good time when they obviously do not like it? They're not into it. You subject the kid to this, to the scariness, and then you say, oh, well, it's just fun. They'll eventually get used to it. But I mean, you can say that for anything. If you subject the kid to seeing some guy get beat up a bunch of times, and then say, oh, well, they don't like it. But if they get enough of it, they're going to think that's normal. Just like kids getting raised in an abusive household. They're going to think that that's normal, and that's what's supposed to happen if you keep subjecting your children to that and you don't leave that household. They're going to grow up thinking that it's okay for a man to beat up on a woman or a woman to beat up on a man because that's all they were exposed to. And by you staying in that relationship or that marriage, you're allowing your children to think that's normal. That's just the bottom line, guys. And that goes with anything. So that's just one thing about Halloween. Like, we should not be celebrating this holiday. It lifts up the enemy. I mean, it's just, if you think about it, you got Christmas, and I'm not going to go into it so deep to where I say, Christmas is a pagan holiday and, its roots are in paganism and these things might be true. But the thing is, the overall objective is we're worshiping the fact that we're trying to remember the fact that Jesus was born. You don't want to get too religious with this stuff, but Halloween definitely is a no-go, guys. I mean, Halloween is what it says. I mean, if you look up, just Google it. Look up the foundation, why Halloween was made, what's behind it, what's behind trick-or-treating. I mean, just look up behind what it is that you're subjecting your kids to. I know my kids, you asked me about my kids don't celebrate Halloween. And they know. They'll go into these stores and these Walmarts and stuff. And if you notice every single year, they start putting out the Halloween stuff up earlier and earlier and earlier. It's a satanic agenda. It's not, it happens every single year. They'll put it out, they'll start maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago, they start putting it out in September. Now they're putting it out in August. They keep trying to put it in earlier and earlier because they're trying to it's the enemy's plot to deceive people and he wants more of him shown. That's why they do it. And people think you can look at on surface and it's like, oh, well, the stores just want money. But you got to look behind the surface. There's always a physical realm, but then there's always a spiritual reality behind what's going on. And you have to see this. You have to have discernment. You have to ask God for wisdom to actually show you these things. If you don't believe me, just pray. Pray about it. Pray if you truly want to do what the Lord wants you to do, pray about it and see what God leads you to believe when you next time you walk into the store.